guys coming back home after the West Coast road trip. What was that like? Going that far out to California, playing 2 games, being out there for so long. Did it take a toll on you? What was that experience like for you
guys? I would say, from my perspective, I think it was good just for the team, just for us to bond and come closer together off the court. Just being together for so long and having to travel to and from the different places we went to in California. I think it was good just for off the court, and then just on the court. It definitely takes a toll just going to a different time zone and flying and always traveling, but that's what's part of what we signed up for. And although we didn't get the job done and win both of those games, I think it was definitely a good learning process for us. So
yeah, kind of just going off that. What is your biggest takeaway from a game like that one at Stanford? Are there things you can take from that loss and now kind of use them going into the game tomorrow?
Yeah, I would say just for starters, we got to be able to adapt to certain games. Whether teams trying to be physical with us, or we're physical with them, we got to just understand how the game's going to be called. Not every game's going to be called the same. Obviously, we can't look at the refs every single time something happens. We can't blame the refs on anything. We just got to be able to adapt. That's just on our leadership, and that's just on our team as a whole. Just because, like I said, we can't point any fingers, can't look at anybody. We just got to adapt to how the game's being played. Can't beat ourselves. I feel like we kind of beat ourselves a little bit against Stanford. It's a learning experience. Yeah.
With the fouls, what can you do, here in practice, or, to try to make sure that that those don't pile up like they did?
I would say, in every basketball game, there's going to be fouls, but you have to control the ones that you can control, even just for myself personally, some of the tic-tac fouls, like the reach-in fouls, and, not doing things like that, or fouling like jump shooters, three-point shooters, just staying vertical at the rim. Just different things that we can work on to, limit those fouls. And, at the end of the day, the refs are going to call what they call, and we have to, we can only control what we can control, and we have to, continue to play to the best of our ability despite all of that. So.
How do you guys, as the 2 older, more veterans on the roster, kind of keep everybody level-headed after a long week road trip in California over a holiday, and then you obviously face one of the best teams in the country tomorrow in Duke? How do you guys kind of keep everybody steady?
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy job coming from, that trip and then coming around and playing Duke. Obviously, Duke's a really good team. We're a really good team as well. It's just kind of on our leadership a little bit, just because, we had to make sure that everybody realizes that on to the next game. We can't do anything about, the Cali trip. Whatever happened on that trip, we can't, do anything about it now. We have to turn the page. We have to turn the page really quickly to a really good Duke team. Whether it's scouting report, getting our bodies right, physically, mentally, just doing whatever we can to, turn the page really quickly, and that's kind of on our leadership to make sure that we can turn the page as quickly as possible.
For either one of you, with Michael Brown having been out these last few games, has there been an emphasis in practice from Coach on you guys collectively bringing up your ability to play on the ball and be distributors and playmakers and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. Kel is one of our, primary ball handlers, but, PK always preaches next man up. We're going to always support him and, the process and journey that he's going through. And, whatever we got to do, we're going to do it. Whether that's we have to take, more reps on the ball or, bigger loads or anything of that nature. We're going to do what it takes, to get the job done. So,
Javon, when it comes to a front court and a team like Duke, what do you remember from playing them last year, and I guess going into tomorrow night? What are some things you can take from that experience last year and their play style into tomorrow?
Just something I remember, we were actually up on them. I don't know if maybe both times, but we were up on them at least one of the times. And, it was here at our place. And whether we're in the same situation or not, we just have to realize that, the game is 2 halves. We have to be able to put 2 halves together tomorrow. And, that's on our leadership. That's on our team as a whole. But, you know, whether we're up by 10, down by 10, like, we have to continue to still be ourselves. The standard's the standard. We got to continue to remind ourselves of that. Like I said, no matter the score, obviously they're a really good team. Position by position, you name it. They obviously have really good players up and down. We have to be on our scouting report. That, you know, the coaching staff, you know, hasn't been sleeping to make sure that, you know, we're going to try to get that job done in the scouting report, and try to give us the best chance that we got on the court.
Sticking with Duke, have you guys had much of a chance to watch them thus this season? And you were obviously talking pretty good about them there, but is there anything, if you have, that kind of jumps out at them besides Boozer?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've definitely watched, you know, a couple of games, you know, just their size, just the different things that they can do, you know, whether they're close to the basket or out on the three-point line, just the way that they're able to guard different positions. They have a lot of versatile players, and it'll be a great matchup for us. You know, I know we're all excited for the game, and we'll be ready for the challenge.
Like you say, he's a really good player. I think everybody in the country knows that. You know, I think every team that's going into, you know, playing Duke or, you know, playing a team like that, obviously he's highlighted the scouting report. Just kind of pick your poison, you know, kind of like the NBA players. Like, you kind of just got to, you know, pick your poison as to what to give up, what to take away. So that's just, you know, on the scouting report. Obviously, I can't give any of that away right now, but just kind of trying to pick your poison as to what to give away, you know, and take away. No fouls. That's a big one. No fouling.
Yeah, and it's a team effort.
Yeah, team effort. Try our best to not foul.
Kind of going off what you mentioned, you know, picking your poison, I feel like teams are trying to do that with you all a little bit. I know Stanford's coach talked about it after the game Friday. It was like, we're either going to try to, you know, hold these guys to not getting out in transition, or we're going to try to, you know, have to chase guys like, unlike you off the line, Ryan. Do you feel like, can you kind of tell like when teams are going to like pick and choose like those opportunities? Can you tell when a team is, you know, making sure that you guys don't get out and run in transition versus when they're trying to really be physical and, you know, make sure that you don't get, you know, just, you know, any sort of open looks off the 3-point line?
Yeah, definitely. You could definitely tell just from the beginning of the game. I mean, teams obviously they watch film and they know, you know, the different things that we're strong at, and like Vaughn was saying, you know, we just have to be able to adjust. You know, we're capable of doing more than just, you know, one thing, and we have a lot of different versatile players, and, you know, we can attack teams from different ways, so we have to be able to make those changes so that we can get the job done.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.